Hello, Nikolai Markovich from Echolaketech Technologies, echolaketech.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up SendGrid so that you can send emails from your Bubble app. Now, one thing before we start, there are two types of templates that you create in SendGrid. There's a legacy template, and then there are transactional templates. Now, if you've been using SendGrid for a while, chances are that you have some legacy templates that you've created. In this video, I'm going to primarily focus on transactional templates, which is SendGrid's newer version of templates. And I'll also talk a bit about the Bubble plugin and some differences there. So I'll try to highlight the differences as we go along. The first thing, though, is you need to have a SendGrid account. So go to SendGrid.com and set up an account. You can get a free account to try it out, and I think after a trial period you still get about 100 free emails a day that you can send from your app. So that's probably going to work for a fair number of you out there. The first thing you want to do when you get into your account, in your SendGrid account, is you want to create a template. And I've already created a template just to kind of save some time here. And the name of my template is Demo Template. And there's an ID number, and this is an important number to know, because you will need that in your workflow when we get to your Bubble app. You can go and you can edit the name of your template as well, and so forth. And then down here is where we get to edit the template itself. So again, I've gone in and created this for the video. This template name with a little red dot here, email subject with a little red dot, so those are required. SendGrid automatically goes and populates this untitled with this numeric string here. You can change it if you want. I myself don't. The email subject, though, you do want to change. Now, you can go in here and put whatever you want for an email subject. Just type it right in, and it'll be that way for all of your email subjects that use this specific template. Now, for myself, I go and I put in this subject here with the curly brackets, the double curly brackets here. And what this allows me to do is when I'm over on the Bubble side, then you can go and put in whatever dynamic subject that you want. So you could have the person's name in the subject line if you wanted. So this gives you flexibility here on what to put in the subject. And you can see here, if I can go and change this to subject 2, and it changes up here as well. So subject and pre-header, I just leave that blank. It's not required. I just leave it. And in here is the actual message that's going to go out. So what we have here is hello, and then again the curly brackets, var1. Now this is a parameter that gets passed from the Bubble app, from your Bubble app, and you'll see in the plugin shortly, this value gets passed from Bubble to SendGrid. var1 is a specific variable name that SendGrid uses, so it's important that you use var1, and then here's a var2 as well. I believe the new SendGrid plugin supports up to 50 variables that you can pass from Bubble to SendGrid here to the template. Then I have, so actually this, when we get to the Bubble side, this is going to be basically the user who's logged in. It's going to be their first name. Thank you for trying out this app. The dynamic date created in the workflow is variable 2. So what I did, when we get to the Bubble side, is I have a workflow, and I wanted to show how you can dynamically create data, and in this case I took the date, and then you can pass it over to SendGrid. Now, the reason why I did this is because you may use SendGrid for your emails to have users set up their account, and then you pass or send them their email. So you could have your password is, and then you could pass their password to them. Again, curly brackets are important. If you use the legacy template design, I think it was percent that were used. So you don't want to use percents, you want to use these curly brackets for the dynamic templates. Then you can log in by clicking here. So I just wanted to show, if I double click on this, that it is a URL on here, just to show you that you can do that. And then on this one, I'm double clicking. You can also choose to send emails with pre-filled information, so the email address, the message header here, and then the body of it as well. So you can go in there, and just to kind of quickly do a demo, you basically come over here in the link type. So you can pick whether it's a URL, and then type in the URL here, or email, and then you can go and fill out the email. Let's see here. It's kind of hung up here for a second. What's going on? SendGrids, you have made some changes. Yes, I know. Let's try this again. And come over here. Interesting. So seems like SendGrid is acting a little funny right now. In any event, though, if you click on that, you can type in the email message and so forth. Okay. Now, the other thing on here, just so you're aware, is you do want to save template. It will do an autosave, but you want to make sure before you head back, I'm just going to quickly do it back to here, you do want to save it. But I am going to go back for a moment because I also want to show, so they have these settings here and they have build. Now, one thing in the build is I actually come down to global styles and then content container, and I changed the width. I think the default value is 600, like that. And what this basically does is when you get the actual email, it kind of centers it, and the formatting isn't too nice in my opinion. So what I do is I actually change this to 1050 pixels. Like that, and then it left justifies it better. It looks overall better when you get the emails. So that's just something to be aware of. Now I'm going to go back over here. So that's basically how you set up a template. There is a lot of documentation within SendGrid, so read up on their documentation. And the next thing I want to show you, though, that's important is settings. So one thing on settings, API keys, I'm not going to click it so you see my API keys, but you click on your API keys, you will need the API keys to copy from here and paste into the plugin when we get over to Bubble. One thing with the API keys, you want to save them. SendGrid only shows the API keys once, so you want to copy that. And then you want to save it away someplace safe so that you can refer to it again in the future in case something happens with your app or whatever. Let's see, I want to go to tracking. Okay, so tracking, when this comes up, you want to set this up for subscription tracking. I think the default value is inactive on this. And basically, you do need to set this up for tracking. This is going to help for your emails to prevent them being spammed and so forth. So you want to set this up. And basically what it does is it provides the user, the recipient of your emails, the ability to unsubscribe from receiving future ones. I think, yeah, so on, off, again, I think this is the default value when you set up your account, and you want to set that to on. The user experience on this isn't the greatest in my opinion, but you know, it's what it is, and just some things to be aware of. So you click on edit here to go and make any changes. So please use email, and then you hit the checkbox here like that. So edit. I'm just going to delete that. Now it's just, again, so edit to edit it, and then checkbox instead of save to save it. The other thing right here is I have it set up so that it goes to an email. Now you can set this up to be a URL. so that if the user clicks on that URL, it can go to your Bubble app, and then you can have them go and unsubscribe that way as well. So it's kind of your preference. There is also a lot of information on subscriptions within SendGrid. Subscriptions meaning allowing your users control over what emails they receive or not from you. So do some read up on that. Depending on your use case and your scenario, you may have some different needs and so forth. So I'm just going to close that. So that's basically subscription tracking for that. And then basically we are all set on the SendGrid side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and show you add plugins. So now I'm over on the Bubble side and SendGrid. So you want this top one here, send emails with SendGrid, install, and done, just like that. Now, what you're going to do is back to SendGrid, the API that I mentioned a short time ago. You want to copy your API and plug it into here, or rather paste it into here. Now, one thing to note, in the older versions of the plugin, so this is 5.2. So if you have 4.51 or older, okay, you need to type in bearer and then your API key, whatever the API key is, okay? So that's for the older version. And you'll note that you get all these different choices for the older version. That's for like any of these older ones. You get a bunch of different choices, okay? In the newer version, you see it's only SendGrid. That's the only action. Now here, if you type in bearer and whatever your API key is, it's not going to work. Okay, so no bearer on that, so take that right out completely. So again, if you have 5.0 or the latest 5.2 and whatever newer versions that come out from CoBubble, the developer of the plugin, you don't need bearer in there. But you know, as release notes comes out from CoBubble, they may change that in the future, who knows. But just be aware, do not use bearer. And that's basically it for setting it up. And let's do this. Let's go over to the demo here. And again, this is a very simple one. All I've done is to show you what happens in the email. Enter email subject line, an input, and then the send email. So this is kind of the real part of it here. So when the button's pressed, what I did here, because I wanted to show you how the dynamic data can get passed to SendGrid in the call. So what I did here was I just said date, and this is just for the current user, date equals current date and time, so nothing too fancy here. Now if you were creating a new user account and you were creating a password for them, then what you can do is in the create password, you can pass that along, and basically here over on the SendGrid, you can pass it along here. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Let's just walk through this. The defaults enable click tracking, enable open tracking. There is some documentation in here, inline documentation CoBubble added, so it's kind of nice. I just leave these defaults. I don't use them at this point. Dynamic and legacy. So again, you want to pick dynamic. So this is dynamic is equivalent to transactional in SendGrid. So it's called dynamic here. It's transactional in SendGrid. Legacy in this plugin here is the same as legacy over in SendGrid. So I'm just picking dynamic here. Note if you are a user of SendGrid, have been using SendGrid for a while, and you have some of these older versions, these older legacy versions, you can still use this plugin, but you should start migrating over to this dynamic version of it. That means that the templates that I showed you a short time ago, those are transactional. There is also legacy. If you're on a kind of a legacy account, you are going to need to convert those over to the dynamic version. I'm not going to cover that because in this account that I have set up, it's only set up for dynamic. So that's just something to be aware of if you are using the legacy templates. You want to start looking at converting over to the dynamic templates. Let's see here, the template ID. So I'm going to go back over here, transactional. This is back on the SendGrid account. Okay, so this right here is the template ID, okay, and I want to copy that into here. And then for the subject, all I did here was for the that input back onto right here. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking that input value for the subject. And again, this is to allow me flexibility to have dynamic subjects I could put in, again, the user's name, like hello user, whatever, and put that in the subject line. From name, again, this can be dynamic. I just put Echolaketech Technologies in there. The from email address, it can be from, again, dynamic, but here I just put my business email address in there. The to address is current user's email, so this will get sent to the current user. And then again, CC, which is optional, and I just put my email in there as well. I could put it in as a BCC, so that's certainly an option. The other thing to be aware of, if you're going to have multiple, so email to@test.com, make sure you put the comma in there. So it's comma delimited. There we go. So just to be aware of that. Okay. I think also that SendGrid is smart enough that if you put your email address in CC as well as BCC, I think it'll give you a warning to say that, hey, you've got it in two different places, so pick one. Okay. var1. So if you remember, I'm just going to come back over here to the template. Okay, var1 here is var1 here. So it's basically current user's first name. And then var2 right here in the template. Okay, this is the result from step 1. Again, what I wanted to show here, I picked date, but what I wanted to show is that this could be a password, for instance, that you want to pass or email to your user. There are a bunch of other variables you can put in here. Again, I'll scroll down. I think there's, how many are there now? So I thought there was 50. Yep, there's 50. Unsubscribe group. So I haven't really done much with the unsubscribe group or attachments or anything. That might be some content for a future video. So that's basically all there is to it. It's really that simple. Now, just again to show you, so the plugin here, SendGrid, send email. That's it. If you're on the legacy plan, you're going to see a bunch of SendGrid choices here. But with a new version of it, it's just this one thing. So it's kind of nice that it's been streamlined in that regard. It makes it a little bit easier, a little more powerful, I suppose. And let's do this. Let's go and run it. Now, something to also be aware of is that, so I'm over here, I've got all these made up user accounts and so forth. You can go and do a run as. So this is a pretty nice feature. And even if you're in production, so this may be something you're not aware of. Whether you're in the development environment or your live environment, and you've got users, you can run as any one of those users. You don't need their password. So that's a pretty powerful feature in Bubble. If you're doing some troubleshooting of somebody's account and you want to see how it's behaving for them as they're logged in, this is a pretty nice feature to do for debugging. But just be careful because you are actually logged in as that person, even without their password. So just be aware. Run as, and what it's going to do, it's actually going to come up as the home page here. What I want to actually do is I want to preview it because I'm actually not on the home page. I'm on this page. I want to do a preview. Still logged in, and then basically, I can type in, this is a test subject line like that, and then I can go and send it. And off it'll go to through SendGrid and send it off. Now what I did just to kind of expedite things for the video here, I went and I created one earlier. So the name of my subject was, this is a test subject. Again, whatever you type into that subject line, it's up to you. Echolaketech Technologies, so that was who it was from. I don't have any images in here. You can go and insert images into your email as well. It's kind of a nice little feature if you have a logo or something like that. And you can see hello user 1. So I'm just going to come back right here, data. So user 1, I'm just going to go again, the little pencil here can get right into the account or into the data for that user. And where's first name? So user 1, that's this user's first name. So user 1, hello user 1. And the date. So this is actually just right now. So again, if this was a password, you would see their password, or the user would see their password, and they can use that as their temporary password. And then click on the link to go to the website, and then they could go log in. You could set up your account to go and on the first login to force them to go and change the password. So there's some ways of forcing them to change their password on the first login. And then let's see here, biweekly email. So yeah, if they want to be added to the biweekly email, they can go and click on this. I'll actually click on that, and you can see the pop-up. So again, this was from the template. Let's go back over here. And right here. Double click on that. So please add me to the biweekly newsletter. Hello, Nikolai. I come over here, so please add me to your newsletter. Hello, Nikolai, add me to your biweekly article, and so on and so forth. By the way, this is actually real. If you do send me an email at echolaketech@gmail.com and you are interested, I do have a biweekly newsletter, and it's got articles and videos that cover things around Bubble app development and startup tips and tricks as well. So that's actually a real thing. If you do want, just send me a note. And that is basically how you go and set up a transactional template or a dynamic template. Let me just cancel this within SendGrid. Again, under templates, transactional, and just create the templates here. Make sure you can have I don't know if there's a limit on the number of templates you can have. On some of my apps, I have a fair number of templates that get used for different use cases and scenarios. So you can definitely create multiple of those. Make sure you use the right ID for, let's see here, the workflow. Let me cancel this. Where are we? Workflow. So if I have multiple different template IDs and I put the wrong one in here, it's not going to work out too well. So just do a bunch of testing. One of the things that I do is when I go through testing, for some of these, I'll put in like the to address. I might even put my actual email address in here so that it comes to me and I can actually see what the email is going to be. Because once it gets to the live version, chances are you're probably, as the app owner, you're probably not sending yourself emails that should be going out to your users. So you want to make sure that things work, though, while you're testing. That's about it. It's a little bit of work to set it up. It's not too complicated. There is quite a bit of information on the SendGrid website to take a look at. There's lots of different ways to configure your emails and so forth for different purposes. I'm not a power user of it. I just use it for to, again, communicate with my users in the app for certain scenarios that come up in my apps. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you are on the legacy, I strongly recommend moving over to the newer version. 5.2 is the latest. You really want to be moving off of these because you're going to start running into issues. The reason why I moved onto the new dynamic or transactional is because I did have an issue and I needed to go and create some new templates, and then over on SendGrid I started doing transactional or dynamic, and then when I had some issues on the plugin side, so I've moved over to 5.2 at this point. All of my templates are now on the transactional version of it, not the legacy. So I have other accounts for SendGrid, and on there it shows legacy in here as an option. If you are an older user of SendGrid, you'll see transactional and legacy in here as well. If you're new, you have a new account with SendGrid, and I just created this account actually today, it doesn't even give you the option for legacy, so it kind of keeps you out of trouble in that regard. Again, if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate that. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks.